Test, 1, 2. Yay! Perfect.
Mm, mm.
Welcome to TranCistory, the women's history podcast, all inclusive, hosted by me, Brianna Hacker, and my co-host.
Claire Thomas.
Hope everybody's doing good this week. We are rebooting our podcast, giving it a fresh start.
Yes, just in time for summer, and we're all about freshness, especially now that we're battling these Canadian wildfires. Bri, have you seen the haze outside?
I took pictures and sent them to some friends in Canada and told them that they needed to calm the fuck down.
Can you imagine being... I would like to believe someone, shamelessly flicked a cigarette, and, now they hate themselves.
And that's what did this whole thing. Well, that's better than what we do. I mean, we have gender reveal parties and light states on fire.
Yes,
So if they were just smoking,
yeah,
that's better.
gender reveal party would just piss me off.
Oh yeah. I saw a joke one time that was somebody doing a gender reveal party and it was like surprise, all the doors have locked and we're gonna watch Lord of the Rings, the extended
Oh my god, are
version.
you serious? Oh my
Yes.
god. That would be something you would do for sure.
I would.
I think I'm just gonna be like, hey guys, I'm pregnant. And I think that will be enough of a surprise for everyone in my life.
Yeah, you're gonna be like testing my heart, just seeing like, oh my
I'd
god.
be like, surprise guys, I'm
Couldn't breathe it.
not going to be drinking for the next 9 months. I think that will be enough of a shock. I don't want to overdo it.
Oh my god. So have you any good movies, books
Mm,
recently?
let me think. There's a documentary that I just watched about I think Natalia Grace, that Russian girl that was adopted by a family, and they basically accused her of being a fully grown woman. And oh,
Oh my
Brie, you
god.
need to watch it.
No, I haven't
It's
seen
on
that.
it's on
I will.
Netflix. The best part of this whole thing is the father. This guy is off his fucking rocker, dude. He I would watch it again just for him. Not that I enjoyed his presence, his on-screen presence at all. It made me so angry. But you just know when they
Ugh.
were filming, they were like, "Oh my god, we struck gold." Because this guy, I can't even describe him. So over the top. You need to watch it. I mean,
Okay, I'm gonna watch it
this
now.
guy is just the fucking. But yeah, they accused her of being fully. And one of the most important components was she had a form of dwarfism, and so that's
Oh
why
wow. Wait, like was she an adult?
it's still unclear. I
Oh my
know,
god.
the orphan, it's exactly like the orphan. In fact, I think these two parents that adopted the girl probably watched the movie and got there. But so they adopted her, not sure what age. I want to say, shit, I don't know, 5, 6 maybe, but she had pubic hair, right? So I don't know. And there are other things like that, but she was adopted from the Ukraine, and they ended up finding her birth mother, and she's like, no, she is a child. I gave birth in this year. But then other people,
Oh
they
my
show other people
god.
with the same form of dwarfism, and she looks significantly older. I don't know. So it leaves it kind of, you know, murky for you to draw your own conclusion, but just that fucking dad. Oh my god, I can't.
Can you imagine being the producer though and being like, this is the most fucked up thing I've
Yeah.
ever seen. It makes me want to go kill
Mhm.
myself. I'm gonna be rich. Like that sequence of thoughts would just like blow my
Yeah,
mind.
and yeah, they were charged with abuse because anyway, I could go on, but you need that
Okay.
would be a good
I'm
one.
I'm I'm gonna watch it. Yeah, I saw A Man Called Otto.
Oh, with Tom Hanks?
Uh
Oh.
yes. my wife and I turned it on because it looked like one of those like really wholesome
Mm-hmm.
movies. That like, and we were both like, "Oh, I need a little feel good flick. It's gonna be great." If there was a movie more designed to make me cry my eyes out, I
Oh
don't want to
shit.
see it because I spent the entire. It's Happy
Oh,
Tears. It's a great movie. I recommend it.
okay. What's it about?
But like everything about this movie was so dialed in to like, I'm gonna make Bri cry her wee little eyes out.
What was it about though?
So it's about like a old grumpy man, and like then it gets into like why he's grumpy, and you start to understand him, and they starts to like loosen up and like love this family. And I'm not gonna tell you everything about it because there's like major spoilers in there, but like Tom Hanks is
Uh,
amazing. I will watch anything that man's in until the
yeah,
end of
true.
time.
Tom Hanks is the best. So he's just a grumpy old man, and you learn why, the origin of his grumpiness, and then
Yeah.
he softens his edges a little bit.
Oh, this like really young, vivacious family moves in and kind almost like forces them to like almost forces them to be nice. It's like crazy
Um,
how it works, but it's really, really
I
well
guess I
done.
need a young, vivacious family to move in next to me because I fucking hate everybody.
The young mom in the family reminds me so much of a Hispanic
Really?
you.
Oh, a Hispanic me.
Yes, I told Sarah that as soon as it
Okay,
finished.
I
I
need
was
to
like,
watch it
okay,
then.
that you reminds me of a Claire.
All right, I need to add it to my list then.
Now
But
you have
that's
to
just
watch
because
it
I'm
just
a
because I said
narcissist.
that.
Exactly. Now I need to. All right, so should we move on to the news segment for this week?
So I've got good news. I've got bad news for this
Okay.
news segment. The good news, I have a friend, Tilly Bridges.
Oh,
Her
I love that
book
name,
came
Tilly.
out. Yes, and it's a trans woman, so you know she
Yeah.
picked it. So that's just her taste right
Uh-huh.
there. She has a book about the
Oh.
Matrix and how the entire thing is a trans allegory. Um,
Oh.
so it just came out this week. I cannot wait. Like it's frame by frame the symbols and stuff in the Matrix, and I cannot wait
Oh
to
my
go
God,
through it
that's
and like watch the Matrix and read
that
this
could not be
book.
more you. I can't think
I
of a
know.
single thing
I love
unless
it.
it were The Lord of the Rings.
I'm sure one day we'll find out that Tolkien was a closet
Oh,
transgender
do I
supporter.
hope so.
So, anyway, that's good news. The bad news this week, I think it was at the very beginning of this week, but the a CEO of a cut rate submarine company managed to get a bunch of people killed with him in his wee little submarine that imploded.
What? I haven't heard about this. I'm just kidding. Of course I did.
Are you okay? I was, oh my God,
It's
it's like, Claire, are you
all
serious?
it's all I saw on TikTok for 3 straight days. And I'm one of those people that did kind of chuckle at the memes, so
Oh yeah, me too. I mean, the only part that makes me feel bad about it is there was a kid on
I
board.
know.
There's a
God.
teenager. Everybody else, a bunch of billionaires on a boat that like implodes in the ocean. After all these warnings have happened, I don't feel bad about that. I feel like,
I mean,
but what makes me sad is this guy makes all these decisions. Which, if you haven't, I recommend Behind the Bastards. Just did a couple
mhm.
episodes on it. But like everything from like a submarine engineer being on board saying, "Can't you hear the hull failing?" Like it's line by line. This is the biggest clusterfuck. Just ignoring
Oh my
everything,
God.
all
Well, I heard they
advice.
didn't even see it with like they if they even saw the Titanic at all, the wreckage, it would have been on a screen. They wouldn't be looking out the sub
Oh, I have no
window. They
idea.
would be no, like that's what I heard. Like they'd be looking at a screen. So it's like you're going
That's
in a
even worse.
submarine. It's the size of a bathroom. Down like how many thousand feet out? 13,000.
It's like 4,000
Ugh,
meters. So it's like 12, thirteen
watch
thousand
that. Yeah,
feet.
so you're gonna do that to look at a screen, watch the Titanic, go find one of the last remaining blockbusters, get the 2 VHS pack, There you go. Like, I don't understand.
No, it makes no sense to me. And that as soon as I heard about it, the first thing I said to my wife is that is a bunch of stupid rich
Yeah.
people shit.
And guess who wasn't on the submarine? Women. Women were not.
Women,
Oh, I
women were
wonder
not. And that
why.
is what this is a podcast
Yeah,
about.
wonder why women weren't on
The
a
women,
basically floating around in a Pepsi can 13,000
a
feet
death trap.
underwater.
Yes.
Idiots. The one thing, though, I guess, think about carbon footprint had to be, it has to somewhat be reduced from this. I don't know what their if they were frequent flyers, I can assume they were jetting around.
We're saving the planet one
Yep.
billionaire at a time.
Yep. So this is bad news, or you weren't done?
No, it's bad news that there was a kid on
Oh,
board. That's the only
right,
bad news
right,
end.
right, right, right.
Yes.
That is bad
The
news.
rest of it is just
Yeah.
hilarious. And I for one will without any shame whatsoever continue laughing
We
at
could have
this.
a whole podcast episode just on sub because I could go on and on.
Okay. We may have to do that.
Stay tuned, guys. That will be a bonus. That will be a bonus episode. Our thoughts and opinions on the submersible.
We are slowly creating a Patreon, and that will be an episode on
Yeah,
the
I can't wait. And
Patreon.
by the time we get around to that, I'm sure there'll be plenty of conspiracy theories that we can. I will gladly put out there and tell
Yes.
people to subscribe to.
Oh, it's just and like the guys like ancestors were all slave owners and all this shit. Like
Oh my god.
it's
Well, no,
gold.
did you hear that the captain, I don't know if he was referred to as the captain, his wife, her great grandparents died on the Titanic. They were the old couple in the bed. Oh
Yes, I
my
did
god,
hear
it's
that.
insane.
What are the
Ugh.
odds? Titanic gets them again.
Oh
Still fighting.
god. Stay tuned. This will be a bonus episode one day.
We now have to
Yes.
do it.
Oh, I can't wait.
Okay, so I think this week I go first with my person,
Okay.
and I've got the Empress Elagabalus.
Oh, okay. Elagabalus?
So
Elagabalus.
Elagabalus, um, also known as
Mm.
Heliogabalus, which we'll get into why in like just
Hmm.
a second. But first, quick note about pronouns. Historically, Elagabalus is usually referred to with he, him pronouns. We at TranCistory are big believers in referring to people with the pronouns that they would have preferred. And so, due to that, we will be referring to Elagabalus with she, her pronouns. Um, I mean, she called herself a woman all the time, so we're just going to do what she would have asked.
Amen, sister.
So she was the first empress of the Roman Empire. She was born into what was essentially the Roman royal family. Known as the Severan
Mm.
dynasty, and her birth name was Avidius Bassianus. Um, and she was made very, very young. When you think emperor, you think like really old person. This is not an old person. This is a teenager.
Teenage
So
empress.
it's a baby.
Little fetus. Okay.
So she was born in 204.
204.
Yeah, right, way back, reaching back. And she was made high priestess of the sun god Elagabal. So that's why it's
I
Elagabalus Elagabal.
see.
Upon her ascension to the being the empress, she took the name Antoninus, which, if you know anything about Roman royalty, they take all the names. They'll take names of
Mm.
everything. It's crazy. History does know her as Elagabalus or Heliogabalus because that's the name the Romans called that same god.
Is it bad?
Due to her
I keep thinking
association.
about turkeys. Gobble. Yeah,
Gobble gobble.
that's how I'm gonna remember it now.
And I just lost all
Yeah,
historical
you're
credibility right there
welcome.
by saying
You're
gobble gobble.
welcome. If only this was a Thanksgiving episode. Okay.
So she was half Syrian and half African,
Oh, exotic.
and she's generally called the first Eastern
Hmm.
Empress, mostly due to her being more like culturally
Hmm.
Syrian than culturally Roman. She's also the first empress to rule without an emperor
Oh,
because she did it her
that's
damn
right.
self. Importantly for our story, she was still in the Roman province of Syria when she became the empress.
Okay.
So she essentially had like a rolling party all the way from Syria to Rome.
Oh, that's a good ways.
Um, and it was super slow. They weren't exactly like high speed doing this. So um, she sent ahead this portrait that went up in the Senate chambers so that they all knew what their new empress looked like. And her mother and her grandmother wanted her to be depicted very
Mm-hmm.
Roman, and she was like, "No, I'm going to show them who I am," because she's a teenager, and that's totally what they do. And so she was depicted wearing these silk robes and full makeup,
Yes. Yes.
and these senators freaked
God, can
out.
you imagine when I was a teenager? Oh my God. It would be pluck all your eyebrows off, melt your eyeliner down so that it gets nice and smudgy,
Oh
and
my
then
god.
right, not the upper lid, just the lower lid right there. Um, I'm hoping they had better taste than early 2000s teenagers.
Oh yeah. I mean, I would have been like full
Oh
emo
yeah.
kid.
Hell yeah. Kind of miss it.
Which I get strong emo vibes from her, so maybe.
Oh.
I don't know. Um, so she also pissed off the Roman Senate by she took all the titles that generally the Senate gave a new ruler, and she just did it without asking because she was like, "Fuck all y'all."
She's the emperor, empress.
Yeah, and generally, like it was just like a little nod, like, "Sure, you guys still have power to let the Senate like give you the titles," but she was like, "Nah, fuck y'all. I just have the titles."
God, what a boner killer for them. Feels
Yeah,
so
right. A
bad
bunch of old men sitting
for
there just
them.
so that she was hated by the Senate before she ever even got to Rome. And we'll get into why that's important kind of towards the end. Um, but just to be clear, she was not exactly like a saint. She was a super super spoiled teenager, and it showed.
Mm.
Um, she was raised as a member of the imperial family, with all the wealth and power that that implies. She was not really mature enough to like manage a hot dog cart, much less the entire biggest empire of the time. But the idea, I think, was for her to be more of a figurehead, and she was having precisely none of that.
Right. Honestly, if you looked at government today, I would easily compare it to a hot dog cart. Saying.
Yes. Maybe they should have to like manage a hot dog cart
Just to see
first.
if they're competent enough to be in
Yeah,
government.
exactly.
You know why it's a hot dog cart? Because it's full of wieners.
Oh my god.
Weren't we just talking about immaturity? What?
Yeah, no, we're
What?
doing great. Teenagers. So once she got to Rome, anybody that had been a fan of the prior emperor was killed. Anybody that didn't really show support fast enough, also
Yep,
killed.
yep.
If you were a governor of a province and you had not sent troops during the war, you got killed. So she's generally known as one of the five worst Roman rulers, if you ask most historians.
It's hot.
Right up there with Nero and Caracalla and shit, blanking on that one that I really should have known. The flip side though is you have to keep in mind this is a 14-year
Mhm.
old. Like I wouldn't trust a 14-year-old to do any of
No,
this.
not a damn chance. Not a damn chance.
So to make things worse, her grandmother also pissed off the Roman Senate because she demanded to be like in the Senate proceedings because she was essentially trying to be the puppet master
Huh.
and women were not allowed. And so they were very like, "Oh my god, you're letting a woman in our little spot." And it freaked him out really bad.
Yeah, women are terrifying. They actually are.
Um,
Don't
yeah, we are.
fuck
We
with
should
us.
be.
Okay, continue.
Upon arriving in Rome, the power went straight being the to her Empress. She was still the high priestess of Elagabal. Um, so Elagabal eventually became known as Sun and Sol Invictus and became kind of like a national Roman
Mhm.
deity. But she was a little ahead of the time, and she was very extreme in her demand that Elagabal was now like head deity over like Jupiter and Hera and everybody else that they worshipped. She was like, yeah, but first
Mm.
Elagabal. She rededicated a bunch of Roman temples, and the Senate was like terrified that Jupiter was gonna like lash out and destroy them over this. She didn't take it all too seriously though, because she was also known to play the role of Venus whenever she had the play done. They would have a play about the Trojan War, and she would be
Oh.
Venus, trying to seduce young Pallas. And she went all out, full makeup, the dress, and when whenever she played Venus, she was known to suddenly drop her gown, drop to her knees, and grind on whoever was
Oh
playing
my
Paris.
God.
So she was like getting it.
Amazing.
She was
It's me on
yes.
St. Patrick's Day. No, I'm just kidding. Am I? I don't know. No, I actually fall on my face and lose my teeth. At least that's what happened.
It was one tooth.
It
It was
was one
one tooth.
tooth, but it was the most important tooth. It was my front tooth. It looked Appalachian as hell.
Well,
Which I'm from Appalachia, so I can
it's
say
all
that.
fixed now.
Yeah, now we're,
Yes.
I mean, eh, eh.
But yeah, there was essentially a belief in Rome that it was okay to like when you were young to fool around uh with the same sex,
Interesting.
and but you had to be quiet about
Oh,
it.
okay.
And Elagabalus was extremely openly
Mhm.
bisexual
Not quiet
and
about it.
presented herself as a woman. No, she was not quiet
Yeah.
about anything. This child did not know the meaning of
Loudmouth
subtlety.
teenager.
Everything was up to 11. Her longest relationship was to a former slave and chariot driver named Heracles.
Oh, he was probably hot.
He
Hmm.
probably was. And when she married Heracles, she did so as his bride. Um, and she often referred to herself as Heracles' wife or Heracles' queen.
They did get married.
But she also took
And they allowed that?
yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
She was the
Did
empress. What are they
yeah,
gonna do?
that's
Tell her
very
no?
true. Okay.
And on the flip side, she also had 5 separate wives, one twice.
Hmm.
And she had this like crazy idea that she was gonna marry one of the Vestal virgins, which if you can take from the name, they're not supposed to get married. Um, and at the same time, she was telling everybody that in the great pantheon that Elagabalus was gonna marry like I think it was Artemis or one of the Roman gods, and they were gonna like make godlike children by doing this thing where she married a Vestal virgin and the uh, god married the goddess, and they were gonna make perfect kids. It was crazy.
Interesting. I mean,
Um,
probably just very mediocre sex. I don't know about godchildren, but hey, you know,
yeah,
gotta
pretty
aim
much.
high.
There's this hilarious story, and it's told by like 2 out of the 3 histories that we have about Elagabalus. Elagabalus had some people watching this athletic competition, and they noticed that this one athlete named
Mm.
Zodicus was absolutely hung,
Oh,
like
could you say Zertis
huge.
again? Zoticus.
Zoticus.
Oh, see, I thought it was there was an R in there and you ruled the R. I was like, "Oh, say it
No,
again."
I'm not nearly that cool.
Me
I can't roll my
either. God
R's.
damn it. Okay, continue. Okay, so he was hung. Continue.
Yes. So they told the Empress, and without even meeting the guy, she had him brought to Rome with this huge military escort, made him chamberlain of the palace. Um, and so when he got there, she threw him this big feast. And when he saw her, he gave the usual greeting, "My Lord Emperor, hail." And she immediately corrected him and said, "Do not call me Lord. I am a
There you
lady."
go. And then did she get a watering like
Loved it.
a hose and spray him in the groin with that imprint?
No, no, but she immediately started trying to like
Okay,
seduce him, like
that
right off
works
the
too.
bat. She's like all over this guy. They went to the baths in the palace. They had dinner. She's disturbingly all over this guy, and he's all about it. But
Oh
Heracles
shit.
did
Forgot
not
about him.
did not want anybody cutting out on his
Uh-uh.
girl. So during the dinner, he gave Zodicus some kind of drug that kept him from like getting it up.
Oh my god. What would that
So for the
be?
rest of the night, he couldn't get it up. I don't know, but I love it. And Elagabalus is getting more and more pissed off
Oh my god.
and taking it very personally.
We need to bring that drug back. I'm just saying.
Yes. So she banishes him from the palace, and then the next day she's still pissed off. She banished him from Rome. The next day she's still pissed off, banishes him from the entire
Oh
country of
my god.
Italy.
Like
Like pure
you
fucking rage.
useless stud, get out of my face and my country.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Um, but the party couldn't last forever. And the end came pretty fast. Elagabalus was only the empress for a few years. Um, she was persuaded to make her cousin Alexander her heir until she had children, and she elevated Alexander to the rank of Caesar, which is kind of like the prince, the
Mhm.
crown prince. And as soon as everybody started to see Alexander as what we can have if Elagabalus is out of the way,
Mm.
the assassination attempts
Oh.
start. So the Empress dodged several of them, and she began to see Alexander as the reason that all these threats were happening. So she demoted her cousin and spread a rumor that her cousin was dead.
Okay.
Her own bodyguard freaked out, revolted against her. Alexander's mom is like bribing these guys like a motherfucker. So like that's part of the reason that they revolted. Um and so she was forced to bring Alexander to the bodyguard's camp to prove like, yeah, I didn't kill him. You guys can like calm the fuck down. And when she tried to assert her authority, they turned on her and murdered her.
Mm.
And she was unceremoniously tossed in a public sewer that led to the Tiber, leading her with one last title, the Tiberine or
Oh, that's
Tiberinus.
cold.
Yes, and stinky.
Ew. Honestly, everything back then was probably
So
so stinky.
yeah, it was. Oh, the body odor had to
Yeah,
be
it's all I can
awful.
think of when I watch period films is God, they must stink. Ugh. Anyway. Oh, R.I.P.
So she ruled Rome for 4 years. She was 18 when she
Oh my
died,
God.
and I actually have an inside baseball kind of theory on why, because there's two things that run as far as like Elagabalus is presented as this very extreme, hedonistic
Mhm.
empress. And so one of them is that we only have three historical sources, which are Cassius Dio, Herodian, and the Historia
Mhm.
Augusta. The Historia Augusta is total bullshit. Like it's like the mythology of the leaders of Rome. And Cassius Dio is this huge, like it's like she's like a rumor mill, or they're like a rumor mill. And Herodian was actually like a little more serious, but came several like a long time
Mhm.
later. So the fact that like she pissed off the senator class like right at the beginning, and these all these historians were the senator class, she kind of got a
Right.
senior job from history. But her so she's from the Severan
Mhm.
dynasty, and the emperor before her was only emperor for like I think it was less than a year, and his name was Macrinus.
Katrina.
But the last popular, yes, the last popular emperor was Caracalla, also known as like one of the worst, another worst ruler. He, he's on the list.
Yeah.
Um, But he had this idea that came from his father that said, as long as the army's happy, you're going to be fine. You can piss off the Senate, you can piss off everybody. And so I have a theory that what Elagabalus was doing this whole time, because Caracalla was also very like
Mhm.
hedonistic and did whatever the fuck he wanted. He was also a young
Mhm.
emperor. And I have a feeling that Elagabalus might have been trying to make herself seem more like Caracalla so that the army would be more on board with her. But that's just my theory. I've never seen anybody else pitch that. So if that is the case, I said it
You
first.
heard it here first. Elagabalus was trying
But that is the
to mirror.
Caracalla. Car- Caracalla's worse, though, in my opinion. Caracalla killed his own brother in front of his mom,
Oh.
which is pretty
Oh,
fucked up.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
pretty mean. You should not do that.
All right, so that's the end of Elagabalus, and give us just a second. We'll get switched around here, and Claire is going to do. I'm not even sure who Claire's
It's
doing
a
today.
surprise.
All right.
So this week, I am doing Eva Perón, First Lady of Argentina.
Okay.
She also went by Evita, which you may have heard of the musical Evita.
Evita. I
You
love
heard of
that.
it? The musical? Or the movie?
I've heard of it. I've never
Okay.
seen it, but I've
Oh,
heard of it.
it was my favorite movie when I was a kid. Oh my God. Yeah, so Evita starred Madonna. Well, this is the movie. Starred Madonna as Eva Perón, Antonio Banderas, Jonathan
Oh
Price
my
was in it.
god.
Yeah, it was me and my mom. I remember I was 5 years old and we went to see it at the movie theater. And ever since, I know every word to this movie. And every word of this movie is sung. So I might break out into song here as I'm going through the timeline of Eva Perón's life. So,
Oh, I
okay,
encourage
perfect.
it.
All right, so Eva Perón, First Lady of Argentina from 1946 to 1952. So mid century, okay? So
Mhm.
Eva Perón was born Maria Eva Duarte on May 7th, 1919, in Junin, to Juan Duarte and Juana Ibagura, which a lot of these names I'm not going to get correctly, I'm sure. So
That's okay. I was
apologies.
doing Latin in the last one, so we're just gonna
You
butcher
were
this. It's
you
gonna be
were
great.
at least in my mind rolling your R's, so I this would actually require me rolling my R's, and as we said earlier, I can't do that. So Juana Ibagura it is. Okay. So Ava's father was a wealthy rancher, and back then it wasn't uncommon for men of decent means to have multiple families. Uh, so this was the case. He had multiple families. Ava's family was maybe family two or three, or, so they were seen as children were seen as being illegitimate under Argentinian law, Ava and her siblings.
That that sounds like so
I
much
know. I
work.
mean, it really, who has the time? Ugh, God.
That's like ignoring the ethics. Like that's just so
I
much
know. I'll never
work.
understand. I'll never understand. Um, but it looks like he did get tired because when Ava was one, he took off, never to be seen by the family again, completely abandoned them. So he clearly did reach his, you know.
No. That I couldn't. That hard pass.
But when he did leave, this left Ava and her family. Ava was the youngest of five. It left them impoverished. They lived in a one-room house in Los Toldos, which was a very rural, poor town. Um, Even her sisters stepped up once they were of age and began working with their mother as seamstresses, whereas the brothers, did what they could as well. So all of the children were working. Around grade school age, Ava fell in love with participating in school plays. That's when she realized that she loved theatrics. She loved a good production. She loved drama. She was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. So, fast
Awesome.
forward to 1934, Ava's about 15. She leaves for Buenos Aires, which is the capital of Argentina. Um, and it's rumored, and I love this rumor, it's rumored that she left with a married tango singer named Augustine Magaldi. There are other stories that she went with her mother, or her mother set her up in Buenos Aires with family. I personally like the idea that she left for the big city with this married tango singer. And that's actually depicted in the movie. I don't know about the play, but the movie with starring Madonna, it's depicted that she leaves with the tango singer. And
I like the tango
no,
singer.
it's
Yes.
even though she's
That's
15. We'll ignore the fact that she's 15 and that's like very pedo, but um
they're also young
I
in
know.
this. This is a young
Yeah, I
episode.
know. Well, that's like back in the day every ugh, yeah, you just don't want to think about
Gross.
it too much. Okay, so Augustine Magaldi, and he's a tango singer in the movie. Um, as she's trying to persuade him to take her with him, she sings this song that's like, I wanna be a part of thee at Buenos Aires, Big Apple. Like, it's crazy. Oh my god, Bri, you need to watch this movie. Okay, anyway,
I'm gonna have to watch
we
it.
need to watch it together. Okay.
I was about to say next
Yes.
movie night,
It's
it's
a
we're gonna
Vita.
have to watch
Oh
this.
god, I'll sing the entire I won't have a voice by the end of the night. Okay. So,
It sounds like fun.
it's a fun well, she had there are sad parts. No. Okay.
Okay.
So, when she's 16,
Okay.
about a year into living in Buenos Aires, she begins to find work. She begins to find modeling work. She starts touring nationally with a theater company. She begins doing voice work for radio shows. And she also had a few unsuccessful films. So she was really starting to get out there. Um, and she was gorgeous. She bleached, well, this wasn't why, but she eventually bleached her hair blonde and it became her signature look that she upheld like her whole life. Um, but I'm trying to think of who she would look like. Probably like Aladdin Grace Kelly. Like she just had that look. She was gorgeous. So she was getting jobs, modeling jobs, acting, everything else. So she went to the city and did what she wanted her to do. And then, so fast forward a little more, January 15th, 1944 was the year of the San Juan earthquake. So this was a huge earthquake. I did not know it was this big. It killed 10,000 people, and a third of the people in the San Juan province where it occurred were left homeless. 10,000 people.
Oh my god, I mean,
Huge.
I guess January of 44, that's like right in the middle of World War II. There's a bunch of shit going on, but like,
Yeah.
god damn.
Yeah. It was not a fun time. So the earthquake happened. It is still to this day considered one of the worst natural disasters in Argentine history. Um, Now in comes Juan Perón. So Juan Perón is the current Secretary of Labor at the time, and he decides he's going to host a fundraising gala for the victims of the earthquake. Um, Usually, these galas, or galas, I always say gala, I don't know. Usually,
Gala works.
they're attended by heads of state and very well to do, but one extended the invitation to include members of the artistic communities, so musicians, actors, artists, and Ava, being an actress and a model
Sounds very
herself, I know,
Hollywood.
right? Ava was among those invited, and it is rumored, so everyone's there, everyone's mingling, raising money for the victims. 2 a.m. rolls around. Ava and Juan leave together. Okay. Yeah,
Wow.
they leave together. So you know
Wow.
what happens at 2 a.m. So didn't take long for them to become an item. Ava then soon after becomes co-owner of the Argentinian radio syndicate, which basically gave her the power and flexibility to use her airtime how she wanted. And she used her airtime to discuss Juan's political accomplishments and to air his speeches. So she was just like head over heels with Juan at this point.
Well, that sounds very much like I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Like, so maybe you end up a little co-owner. Maybe you end up a
Right.
little in charge of a radio station. Maybe you
Maybe
talk
you
pretty
air
good about
my
me. See what happens.
speeches and suck my dick later,
Yeah, maybe.
you know?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
Yeah. So she starts doing that. Then later on that year, a close friend of Juan Perón becomes president of Argentina. Juan remains the Secretary of Labor. However, soon opponents of that party are weirdly afraid of a power grab. They're like, this guy's president now, Juan's his, second in command, very well liked. Like, I don't know. I don't know how Latin American politics works. I'm going to be honest with you right now. Very confusing.
Pretty fucking savage. They play for
Yeah, and
keeps.
there's so many coups, and like you can't. It's hard to keep straight. Basically, Juan is close to the current president at this time. Later in 1944, he's dating Ava. His buddy's president. Everything's looking chill. But opposition is like, no, this isn't good. So Juan is arrested. Okay, Juan's arrested. Ava, with her radio show, is like, you're gonna get my man out there. She uses her radio show to rally support for his release. Um, People, like she really gets people heated.
Get it,
Yeah,
Ava.
gets people heated. Um, she's like screaming into the radio, like, let my man go. So anyway, eventually he is released due to the support and the
I
protest.
hope that's
I
exactly what
hope
she
so too.
said.
How do you say that in Spanish? I don't know any Spanish either.
I don't
Oh, it
know,
would be
but
so much sexier.
just being on the radio and being like, "I'm so mad. I'm so mad at all of you. You let my man go. It's
He's
mine."
mine. I'm looking hot. I just got some new outfits. I just dropped 3 pounds, y'all, and you arrest him? Like the fuck? Anyway, so
Yeah.
it works. She gets him out of jail. And then day after, this is very cute. A day after he's released, Juan and Ava get married in her hometown. So cute. I know.
Aw.
And so now,
He's like, "Thanks. You got me
right.
out of
So
jail."
now she is Ava Perón. Fast forward
Mhm.
2 more years, so 1946, Juan runs for presidency and wins in a landslide. So now Ava goes from being Ava Perón to Ava Perón, First Lady of Argentina in 1946. So she married well. She married
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Should we say he married
She did.
well? Right?
She's the one that got his ass out of
Yeah.
jail.
Okay, they both did.
None of that shit happens if
They
he's in
both did
jail.
pretty well. I'll give him some credit. Okay, so Ava, as the First Lady of Argentina, is largely supported by the working class and women. She is not liked by the elite or the bourgeoisie. They saw her as an opportunist and a floozy and just some like hack who used to be an actress and like model for laundry detergent ads. They were like, she's nothing. Um, but
Old money's
I
always like that. It's
know, I
awful.
know. Just very stuffy. I just picture very the stuffiest
Blech.
people ever. Um, but Ava, she, hopefully didn't let it get to her too much. She founded the Ava Perón Foundation in 1948, which was a charitable organization. And since she came from poverty, abject poverty, this foundation, they started collecting and distributing clothes, medicine, food. After a few years of being established, the funds within the organization grew to 3 billion pesos. Okay, and you'll love this. I actually did some math. Here.
Okay.
So, 3 billion pesos back then is the equivalent to 170 million US dollars. Today, that would be over $2 billion.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
So that was after a few years,
That's
the
like
funds within Ava's organization grew to like $2 billion. Um,
She knew how to get
no,
stuff
she really
done.
did. She really did. The foundation also employed over 14,000 people. And these numbers are just blow my mind. The foundation distributed 500,000 sewing machines, 400,000 pairs of shoes, 200,000 cooking pots annually. Annually, not overall. Every
Oh my
fucking
god.
year, 500,000 sewing machines.
That's
So
nuts.
people like how many sewing machines? I don't know. Like I don't know what the population of Argentina was at that time, but Jesus Christ, everyone got a sewing machine.
Everybody had a
He was like
goddamn sewing
Oprah.
machine. It was an Oprah show of
You
of
did a
sewing
sewing
machines.
machine. You did a cooking pot. You did both. Oh,
Yeah.
Lord. And then they also, of course, built houses, hospitals, schools, orphanages. Um, just really, you could, like, based off her childhood, that was her main goal was to give back. Now that she was in a position where she could actually make changes and give back to less fortunate. Um, at the same time, she still has her radio show. That's like her little passion project, you can tell. She's like, oh, you know. Um, so her radio
Good god, how'd she
I
have the
know.
time?
And she was busy, busy. No kids. That's what no kids will do for you. I'm just saying.
Ah, that's
Yeah.
where I went wrong.
Yeah. No kids. You can do whatever the fuck you want with no kids. So she still has her radio show, um, which now that she is first lady, she used it largely to speak out in support of women's suffrage and their right to vote. Um, on
Mhm.
September 9th of 1947, there was finally the law passed giving women the right to vote in Argentina. And this is really cute. As president, Juan was there at the public law signing ceremony, and after signing the bill, he then handed it to Ava, which symbolically made it hers, which is just so cute. I know, isn't that
Aw,
adorable? I
that's so
know.
cute.
So he wasn't all bad. He wasn't bad. He wasn't bad at all. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe I'm just in a mood today. I'm like, man, ugh. But no, Juan was a cool guy.
That's a
Yeah.
valid mood.
So 1951, Juan actually nominates Ava to be his vice president for his reelection campaign, which was like, holy shit, dude. In 1951 in Argentina,
Oh my
which
god.
that doesn't happen, right? So naturally, it drew a lot of criticism. There were no females in political power at any level at that time. Um, Also, those stuffy elitists, they were having a
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
hissy fit.
Well, I mean, it's the year 2023, and we still have our first vice president that's a woman in
Yeah,
office,
just
so
now it's happened. And we still have people
yeah.
throwing temper tantrums in Congress. Like, it's crazy. Nothing's changed.
Ugh.
Eva does eventually decline, though. She does eventually decline the nomination due to uh, extreme criticism of that political move.
The hissy fit.
I know, but she also does decline due to failing health, which we will get
Okay.
into. Because usually failing health is like, oh yeah, okay. Like it's like a celebrity saying like, oh, I was in rehab for exhaustion. It's like, okay. Like,
What's every politician that's ever left a position has been like, "Oh, I just wanna spend more time with my
yeah.
family."
Meaning, my wife just busted me,
Mhm.
basically soliciting sex workers in the
Yeah.
Waffle House parking lot, and I need to go do damage control. That's what it
That's
translates to.
that's oddly specific, Claire.
Don't ask me about my past. Anyway, okay, so so Ava Perón, her health is failing. Um, she she has a series of private and public fainting spells. Around the year
Mm.
1951, 1952. Eventually, she is unfortunately diagnosed with cervical cancer, and this is in the
Ah.
50s, so it's not looking great off the bat. May 7th, 1952. On Ava's 33rd birthday, she's honored with the title Spiritual Leader of the Nation, which is a title she still holds today. I looking at this though, I'm like, okay, if I was just diagnosed with cancer. And someone was like, "We're giving you the title spiritual leader of the nation." I'd be like, "Bitch, I'm not dead yet," you know? But
Oh, yeah.
it,
But she's only 33 at
33,
this
yeah.
point? Oh
She's
my god.
accomplished all of this. It's insane. Um, but so unfortunately, her health keeps deteriorating. End of her life, she was 79 pounds. She weighed less
Oh
than
my
Mary
god.
Kate Olsen at her worst. Put it into perspective.
That's
Yeah.
mm,
It's so bad that she even had this this frame made of plaster that she wore under her clothes to help her stand up and stand straight. She was that frail. She had this like
oh
frame
my
made, yeah.
god.
Um, and fun, I mean not fun, but fun fact, she was actually the first Argentinian to ever receive chemotherapy.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out when chemotherapy
Hmm.
started. So wow,
The
that's yeah.
50s?
So at that point, if you got a cancer diagnosis, they were just kind of like,
You're
well, you're
kind of
fucked.
fucked. We got this new thing rolling out that zaps your body.
Yeah, we microwave you like a
Yeah,
burrito.
but
It's gonna be great.
it could do something.
Yeah. Or it could turn you into a Ninja Turtle for all they knew at that point. I mean, there's no telling.
uh, so sadly, on July 26, 1952, Ava Perón dies at the age of 33. So it was aggressive. It did not take long for, you know, for her to
So
pass.
young. Oh my
I know.
god.
And so July 26, 1952 was the day that she died. My birthday is July 26, 1992. So 40 years to the day after she died, I was born. Am I Vampire reincarnated? I'll let you decide.
I feel like the odds are like really high.
I can't roll my R's, but that doesn't mean shit, right?
No, it doesn't. No.
Mm, mm-mm. And I have also bleached my hair blonde before.
Signs. I mean, you're just collecting. They're backing
Hmm.
up. This
And
is
I'm not
happening.
sure.
Yeah.
There's a very good chance my father had a second family or a third. Just saying. Just saying, Bri.
Okay.
Anywho.
And you don't have
And I don't
kids.
have kids. Oh shit, dude. I'm gonna be 31 this year. Is my time coming?
I've I'm so many years past that. Like I don't.
I better live past 33, Bri. You're gonna make damn sure of it.
You are gonna. We're not starting a podcast just so you can kick off in a couple of years. No, this is a long-term fucking
Maybe I'll
endeavor.
just get my cervix removed now,
Just pop it out. Yeah.
preemptively. Maybe someone else.
I mean, that's what I did. I was like, go down there and pop off all the stuff I don't want. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll discuss this afterward. Okay, so,
There you go.
so her death is would be like the Kennedy assassination mixed with Princess Diana's death. Like Argentina went bonkers. So
Oh
yeah,
God.
it was so profound. Businesses closed for days. Movies and movie theaters stopped midway, just stopped. Um, there was such so as news broke that she had passed, everyone started rushing to the Casa Rosada, which would be the equivalent to the White House in Argentina, the Casa Rosada, to be close to her body. People started rushing there. Um, that so dramatically that 8 people died in a stampede and over 2,000 were injured within 24 hours. Just to get, I
Oh my
know.
God.
So, the city of Buenos Aires just shut down. Everyone's just rushing to be by her. Um, she had a state funeral, which is typically reserved for the presidents or heads of state. Um, she got one because even though she wasn't head of state, she was.
She was the head of
I mean, she
state.
was. I liked the saying, "Man is the head, but the woman's the neck." You know, she was the
Yeah.
neck
Yeah.
of state.
Just
She's the neck of state, which is probably
yeah.
even more badass. 3 million people attended her funeral, which I also did more math here too. I was in a math mood this day, I guess. So, 3
Oh
million
my
people
God.
who attended her funeral, that equates to about 17% of the population of Argentina.
About a
Yeah, 1 out of
fifth.
5 people were at the funeral. Were at the funeral.
What, there's like 300 something million people in America, 20% of that
God,
is
that's too big.
it'd be like if 60, 70 million
At a funeral.
people
It's insane.
showed up at a funeral. Oh,
Alright. So, after her death, Ava was embalmed by an embalming expert that Juan sought out. And this is pretty interesting. This embalming expert pumped Ava's body full of glycerin, which apparently, just when you embalm, right? Like, they look nice, but they don't look like alive, right? They look kind of
right, yeah.
chalky and creepy. But I guess glycerin gives you like that glow, like you're still among the living. I don't know. I think that's kind of creepy myself. But he pumped her body full of glycerin. And then her body was,
It's a nice dewy
yeah, you
natural
want to be
look. It's
dewy when you're dead.
oh my god.
No, you want to still look youthful. I mean, shit, she was 33. Fuck. How,
She
right.
was youthful.
Um, so after pumping her full of glycerin, which I think Jello. I don't know why I mix glycerin and gelatin, but I'm in my mind he's pumping her full of Jello. Anyway, um, so after that, her body remained on display at the office headquarters for 2 years after her death, and there was a coffin. It was like standing. It was a standing coffin, and then the front viewing panel was all glass. So you just could like look in at like glowing, dewy Ava as when you're in the office.
So you just walked in and there's Ava standing in
That
the
just,
corner?
just keeping an eye on things.
Oh my
Yeah,
fucking
it's
god.
very
I can't imagine. Like
people
that's
say she
bizarre.
probably wouldn't have wanted that, but
You think? You think?
but
I wanna be I wanna be pumped full of dewy glow and stuffed in the fucking
yeah,
corner?
leave it to a man to be like, make her you look as young as possible and then make that whole panel glass so I can look at her whenever I want to. God only knows what he made her wear. Anyway.
Oh, that got weird. Okay. Is it my brain went there about the time you said it, so
Uh,
it's
we
not
were there
just you,
together.
it's
We went there together.
ugh,
Um,
I'm sorry.
3 years after her death, 1955, there's a military coup and Juan is overthrown. He flees to Spain and leaves Ava's beautiful, dewy body behind in the
Oh.
office. And after the coup, after the dust had settled, it, you know, basically Ava was gone. Her body had disappeared among the chaos and her location remained unknown for 16 years.
Can you imagine being the looter that's like, "Let's see, we got the gold plaque over here, I'm gonna get that, and then we've got, like, these secret papers, definitely gotta get those, and then, oh my god, is that
Yeah,
Ava Perón? Gotta take
we
that.
need it. That
Gotta
would look great in my man cave.
it's really gonna tie the room together."
I'm just picturing like the insurrection, like instead of like what that guy like fucking around Nancy Pelosi's desk, you just see a casket full of some deceased congressperson, and you're like, I'm taking it with me. People are weird. Um,
Dear god, is
yeah.
that Abe Lincoln? Mine.
Okay, so we're gonna fast forward 16 years. 1971, Ava's body is found. Yay! She's found buried in Milan, Italy, in a crypt under the name Marie Maggi. No fucking idea why. Still to this day, no one really.
I wanna know
I
that
know.
story. I need to know that
Some weird
story.
Vatican shit, which I think I have here somewhere. Um, Her body, though, is badly damaged. She has compressions on her face, damaged feet, she's missing a finger, which they later say she's probably missing a finger because someone had removed it to confirm via DNA or fingerprint that it was actually Eva Perón. So she's missing a finger. She had blows to the chest.
Pop it off.
blows to chest, marks on the back, the list goes on. So she was just tossed around like, back of a UPS truck, like on her way
Oh
to
my
Italy.
god.
Or I don't know, but her body, it's not looking fresh and young anymore. Um, so okay, here we go. So how she ended up in Milan, no one really knows, and we will probably never know. But it has been rumored that there was possible covert assistance to move her body from the Vatican. So the Vatican might have intervened to locate her body, which why they would intervene, don't know. Don't know. I mean,
So can you imagine? Okay, flip side, it's not a looter. It's Father Juan Carlo was told like, listen, drop what you're doing. This is gonna sound weird, but you got to go with it. Just don't ask questions. And you go to these political offices
it's
and
gonna be
pick
a
up a
corpse.
body. It's gonna be a corpse. It's gonna be very dewy. Very. You're gonna wonder, is that really a corpse? It
Mhm,
is. And you're gonna snag it. You're gonna
mhm,
bring it back, and we're gonna send a couple bishops or something over there, and they're gonna come pick it
yeah.
up. But for now,
And they'll be like, but wait, is it a corpse of a young boy? And then he'll be like, no. And they'll be like, oh, why'd you want it again? I'm confused. Why? What? It's a full-grown woman corpse? Why? Why do you care? Not.
oh,
Ugh,
okay.
it's getting
Catholic listeners
dark in
just
here.
checked out. They're
Yeah,
they're they're out.
that's fine.
They're done
That's
with the
fine.
shit.
Bye. Honestly, most Catholics, speaking as one, I mean, Catholic school my whole life. Catholics are known to like not follow Catholicism once they have the choice. It's something forced onto you as a kid. People that remain like devoutly Catholic. Anyway, if pedophile priest jokes are too much for you, I think you've come to the wrong podcast, people. Okay.
Yeah, just go ahead and swap over. Just go find something a little tamer.
Okay, so Vatican may not have helped. We don't know. Um, so at this time, Juan is with his third wife. He had married again, and her name is Isabel, and they're living in Spain. Sounds like a cute little existence. Um, Once they find out that Ava's body's been located, though, fly her to Spain, clean her up. Juan and his wife Isabel keep Ava's body in their dining room for 2 years, which is normal. Right? Wouldn't you?
Ava, dear, will you pass the salt?
Ava's looking at me weird.
Don't you? Do me on the table. I like it when she
Oh, can you imagine?
watches.
Oh, but it couldn't have been living room. Like, it has to be the room, designated room for
You're eating.
eating, is where you want your dead wife's body to be.
Just, keeping an eye on
I'm weird.
things.
I think,
It's like having like a Ring door camera, just they never stop
oh,
watching.
God, I think Juan was a bit of a weirdo. Anyway, okay. Yeah.
Yep, that got weird.
So 1973, 2 years later, Juan returns to Argentina with his wife. He brings Ava. That's good. He remembered her this time. Um, and he brings her back to Argentina, her body, and buries her in the family tomb before he's then reelected as president. But she does end up being buried in her family tomb. But this time they were like, this shit's not going to happen again. So she's buried 15 feet deep, and there are two trapdoors between her and her casket now. They don't want to take any chance.
So were they worried that she might be a vampire? Like, was she so dewy that
She's
they were
not.
like, she's gonna come back. She's gonna want blood. Like, we need to like just get her down
Brie,
there.
I just came up with the best idea. We're gonna do Evita the musical 2, or Evita 2 the musical, and surprise, it's 2023. Ava's a vampire. She comes back to life, and it's about her establishing political dominance today.
Over Argentina.
Yes, today in Argentina as a vampire. But she sings and she's like sexy. She sings.
Yeah, I mean, she's
Oh
so
my
dewy.
god. It's not a bad idea. Evita 2. What with the
She's thirsty.
I love it! She's thirsty. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. We need to. Okay. Um okay. So
Oh my
Juan
god.
Juan is also reelected as president. He dies a year later, but we don't really care about him. Okay, so
No,
no.
this is not his story.
Um so the last part of this, which is pretty odd. So fast forward one more time. We're gonna fast forward to 2011. In 2011, there's a neurosurgeon at Yale named Daniel Nugentson. Um, and he discovers through x-rays of Ava's skull that Ava received a prefrontal lobotomy within the last few months of her life. So,
Wait, he got through the trap doors?
someone did. No, she's a vampire. She walked out. She's like,
He's like, "Will somebody scan this? I feel like something's missing. It's rattling around a little."
something's. I can't feel emotion, and nothing is joyful. So, yeah, he must have drawn her out. I don't know, or they could have been x-rays from the 50s. I don't know necessarily which ones, but basically he sees these x-rays and he's like, okay, she received a prefrontal lobotomy. And everyone's like, what? Like, why? But why?
Right.
So there are a few different schools of thought. One was that she received one to relieve the pain and anxiety surrounding receiving a terminal diagnosis of cervical cancer. But then there are also people who believe that it was an effort to subdue her because in the last few months of her life she became, and this was probably just the illness, right, but she started stockpiling weapons, and she was intending to train the working class into becoming like this militia. She was getting very paranoid. She was getting very like polarizing politically. She was just
Well, I like where this is going. She's about to like start a fucking workers' rebellion
yeah,
in
she's like, I don't have
Argentina.
much time left. Let's fucking go. So
Let's
she
go.
is doing all of this stuff, and so a lot of people think Juan was like, okay, you can't make me look bad. Like, come on, we've done so well. You cannot make me look bad.
We're just gonna pop this ice pick
Right,
in like right here. It's gonna be
right,
fine.
right.
Take it down notch. Our vampire now has to be a socialist,
Oh,
by
for
the way.
sure. Oh, can you
Yeah, it's
imagine
gotta
a
happen.
capitalistic vampire? Like, oh, can you imagine? Like, I'm a capital
No,
or I'm a Republican vampire. Fuck that. Can you imagine? Oh, it'd be the worst.
no, no. But just based on the fact she's staging a workers'
Right.
revolution, it's Ava. She's thirsty and she wants workers' rights.
Uh, so okay, so her lobotomy was also confirmed by a nurse who assisted the doctor in performing the lobotomy. So she had one, because I know for a while it
Wow.
was like, did she or didn't she? But no, she did have one. That was confirmed. The reason behind it, we don't know. However, I don't know. I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Would like to think it was just to like relieve pain. But then again, it could have been both, right? It could have been both. It could have been like, look, there's no use in starting this militia and also chill
Yeah.
out. Like, it could have been both. But anyway, so Eva Perón, or Evita, spiritual leader of the nation of Argentina, First Lady of Argentina. Um, the motivation behind the Broadway play, and one of my favorite childhood movies starring Madonna. Eva Perón managed to escape poverty, um, managed to contribute so much to Argentina. Her charitable works, like beyond what we could even probably like would even be in the realm of what we could conceive. She fought for women's rights and women's visibility in politics. Just did so much in 33 years. She makes
That's
us all look like
crazy.
lazy sons of bitches.
33.
Yeah, 33 years.
She does.
Um, oh, and then okay, yeah, Don't Cry for Me, Argentina is the the headline, like the notable song from the play. And it is, "Don't cry for me," or I'll end it with this, "Don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is I never left you. All through my wild days, my mad existence, I kept my promise. Don't keep your distance." That is Ava Perón.
Bravo, bravo.
God, I can't wait for you to watch that movie with me, Bri.
It's gonna be a
Antonio
blast.
Sexy. That was,
Yeah, that is a
yeah.
star-studded cast. And by the way, Argentina is one of my bailout countries if this one just
Oh my
goes
God,
south.
that's fucking dope. They have great wine too. That's why I'll come with you, and
Yeah,
I'm gonna work on a winery down there or something.
they have great queer rights and great wine, so now we both have to that is the official country of, the TranCistory podcast.
Sponsored by our friends Argentina.
So we had Ava and we had Elagabalus
Names that start with E.
and Die Young. Alright, well, that's it for our 2 awesome, incredible women for this week. Please tune in next week. We've got a couple more lined up. And just if you guys could stop lighting Canada on fire, we'd really appreciate the hell out of that.
And knocked it off. Smoke indoors like a normal person. Love you. See you next
uh,
week.
love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.